FloKnows!
Who cares?
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about UFC 317, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, which is going to be the main event on Saturday night. And these are my prediction. Please, if you're watching this video and you like my content, my predictions, or whatever you like, I don't care, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing to my channel to help me grow or at least get some sort of feedback. Yeah, and we start right off with the first fight of the night. Let me just check quickly. Yeah, here we go. We start off with the Fight Pass prelims. We have in the middleweight division, we have Christopher Evert versus Jackson McVeigh. We got two undefeated prospects. Yeah, we have a duel of the undefeated prospects basically here. They're both making their UFC debuts. McVeigh seems to be well-rounded, but I doubt that he can handle Evert's stand-up. I think if Evert can defend the takedown, I think he gets the W here. I think he catches Jackson McVeigh at some point. His chin hasn't been tested that gravely, I don't think. I mean, he has been hit a couple of times, but not by elite strikers, and I think Christopher Evert might be an elite striker. So, you're gonna find out. My prediction is a TKO for Christopher Evert, and we move on. Heavyweights, Jonathan Diniz versus Alvin Hines. 1 second. What's that? They both, no, not both. Hines comes into the UFC with a lot of momentum and a lot of finishes. And Diniz just got checked by Marcin Tybura, whose fighting style is kind of similar to the one of Alvin Hines. But I think that Hines is, not Alvin Hines, Alvin Hines. But I think Hines is more aggressive. And my prediction is that Hines might eat a couple of shots, but he's taken them in the past very well. So I don't think it's going to be a big issue. And I think he will eventually break Diniz. Whether it's on the feet or via ground and pound, I don't know. Alvin Hines has some decent striking, has some knockout power, has a couple of knockouts on his resume. But he usually uses his good striking to enter into a single leg takedown. And yeah, if he doesn't hit you on the feet, he hits you with ground and pound. And I think he's going to get either one of them to finish Jonathan Diniz. TKO Alvin Hines is my prediction. We move on. Last fight of the Fight Pass prelims, we have Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith. Yeah, it's a typical thing of take a 50-50 veteran like Nico Price and test a prospect with him. Nico Price might be the kindest test that Jacoby Smith could have gotten, because Smith is a vicious striker and Price has been clipped many times over the last years. And I think if Price doesn't land one of his weird signature shots, like the one he landed on, who was it? Dude boy. What's his name? God damn it, Randy Brown? Is it? I think it's Randy Brown. Yeah. Hammer fist from bottom. It's just, if he has something creative like that, he might surprise Jacoby Smith. Other than that, I think Jacoby Smith is going to take a TKO as well. Many finishes I'm predicting for the first few fights. And now we move on to the ESPN prelims. In the lightweight division, we have Terence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshev. I think this should be a fight to get McKinney back on track, but Borshev is a good counter striker, and that has been problematic for Terence in the past. But I think if Borshev does not catch him with something major, I think Terence McKinney is going to take a decision here. I don't think he's going to knock Borshev out. I think Borshev has a granite chin and is pretty dangerous himself, so recklessness could get McKinney knocked out himself. We move on. Women's flyweight division, we have Viviane Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. We're gonna get a decision here, boys. We're gonna get a decision for sure. Both have basically all their wins are decisions and most of the losses are decisions too. Araujo has shown on multiple occasions that she is top 10, but she's not top 5. And Cortez so far has only lost to Rose in a close fight. And also she's been the last woman to beat Jasmine Jasudavicius. So I'm leaning more towards Tracy Cortez for this one. But of course it's going to be a decision. But I think it's going to be 29-28, so it's really not that easy to predict because I don't think there's a clear favorite in this. We move on. Featherweights, we have Haider Amil versus Jose Miguel Delgado. I have to say both these guys have been impressive. Have been impressive so far. And I took something away from both of their debuts. From Amil, I took away that he's really, really tough. He can take a shot and still move forward. And that he's kind of small for featherweight. From Jose Miguel Delgado, I thought that he's a great counterpuncher. And just weighing these two impressions I had, I have to go with Delgado. Because in my opinion, Delgado will get the better in the stand-up and probably catch Amil a couple times. The question becomes how tough he really is, actually. But I think I don't see a way for him because he will be smaller again. He's not known to have the greatest takedowns, and Jose Miguel Delgado is a great, really great counter striker. So it's going to be a tough night for Haider Amil, I think. And I think it's going to be a TKO victory for Jose Miguel Delgado. We move on. Middleweights, Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez. Last fight of the ESPN prelims. I think it's a pretty interesting matchup. I give Rodriguez the power advantage. Hermanson has more experience. So if this were 5 rounds, I would lean towards Hermanson, but in 3, I predict it's going to be Gregory Rodriguez winning it in the end. Via decision, I think. We move on. Main card starts with bantamweights. Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. First of all, that he gets this slot after that last performance, okay. But they want Peyton Talbot, obviously. They want to hype Peyton Talbot. They want him to do well in the UFC. So they put him in exposed spots. And I gotta say, Felipe Lima hasn't lost since his MMA debut, and Peyton Talbot has just lost. But those are, I think, the biggest advantages on paper that Felipe Lima has in this. Because I think Talbot will bounce back with this. After getting out-grappled in his last performance, they gave him a predominant striker to get him back on track, basically, I think. And I think it's going to work. I think that matchup favors Peyton Talbot a lot. It's still an unknown how to beat Felipe Lima, but I think it's because it hasn't been done in the last couple of years. But I think Peyton Talbot has the tools. I do think so. He has just good, really good stand-up. And I don't think that Felipe Lima has the capability of Barcelos to threaten with takedowns, I don't think. So, yeah, TKO for Peyton Talbot is my prediction. We move on. Lightweights, Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. We finally get this fight. Was supposed to be happening on Islam Makhachev's last defense, but who pulled out? What's his name? Damn it. Can't remember his name. Where is he? Arman Tsarukyan pulled out late, and Renato Moicano was offered Islam Makhachev, and he of course took that opportunity, and Beneil Dariush went without a dance partner. And now we got them rebooked. Kind of interesting. Both predominantly known for their grappling. And they both basically only lost to top 5 competition, I would say. But here's the big difference and the big problem for this fight for Dariush. Dariush's last victory came in 2022. He also tends to start slow, and that's especially a fact against another grappler, I think. And Moicano's aggressive style on BJJ should be good here, I think. He's way more aggressive. He just initiates the position he wants to be in and is not afraid to pull guard on someone and reverse. I don't think it's going to be a wash. I think Beneil Dariush is going to hold his own on the ground, but I think Moicano will score more. So I'm giving him a decision victory. We move on. Flyweights, we have Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van, who just fought. That's a big test for Joshua Van on 3 weeks' notice, especially against a tricky cat like Royval, who's super tall at flyweight. And he basically only lost to, he lost to Brent Moreno because of an injury, but other than that, he only lost to Pantoja. That's a big, big test for Joshua Van. I don't see how he could surpass this. Royval isn't known to get hurt easily, so I don't think he's gonna knock him out, and I think that's his only volume, maybe. It would be surprising, but I think Joshua Van's best way to victory would be defend the takedown and out volume on the feet. Stay safe. But I think even if he tries to do that, I think Royval is too good even on the feet, and unless Joshua Van lands a lucky punch, we're gonna get a decision victory for Brandon Royval. We move on. Co-main event of the evening, we have the flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja defending his belt against Kai Kara France. And whether or not Kai Kara France deserves the title shot is debatable, but he got it anyway, so let's just talk about the fight and not why we are here or should we be here, questions like that. I think that Pantoja has shown everything during his run. I mean, he is not a knockout machine. He did not change his style. But he's shown a lot of toughness. He's been hit with bombs. And I'm not sure if he's ever been knocked down. He hasn't been knocked out, that's for sure. I'm not sure if he even ever got knocked down. I'm not sure. He has great grappling, that's for sure. And in the later years, he has evolved into a KO power. He has... No. I'm looking forward. 1 second. Developed, I think, yeah. Developed. He developed some knockout power in the last couple of years. So that's good for him. And he has stamina for days. I don't see a way to victory for Kai Kara-France. He has been out-grappled in the past, and Pantoja probably is the biggest grappling threat he's ever faced. So I don't know how. Kai Kara-France is a power puncher, so his best chance should be a knockout, but Pantoja has been hit with everything and survived everything. So I'm going to say this. Unless Kai Kara-France can crack the iron chin of Alexandre Pantoja, then we're going to have a submission victory for Pantoja, because Kai Kara-France has been submitted in the past by good grapplers, and Pantoja might be the best. So, yeah. Submission victory for Alexandre Pantoja. We move on. Main event of the evening. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight belt. On paper, this should be a very easy prediction for me, because Topuria is a very technical striker with a lot of power, and these matchups have been always very problematic for Charles Oliveira. But, big but, Topuria's only fight at lightweight gives me major concern, because Jay Herbert had him stumbling around and barely surviving round 1. Don't get me wrong, if that round 9 lasted like 20 seconds longer, I'm not sure we would have an undefeated Ilia Topuria. I'm not sure he would have gone on the run he did right after, because after a setback, you probably wouldn't have gotten the name right after. So it was very close to being stopped. But Topuria survived in the end and got his own KO or TKO, I'm not sure. Well, he caught Herbert himself in the second round and finished the fight. That's for sure. Topuria should have the advantage in this, is my opinion. He should have the advantage in this, but never ever count out Charles Oliveira. He's always dangerous. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Here's my prediction. This is what I'm predicting. But the latest betting lines I've seen were like 8-1. If it stays like that, I think money on Oliveira. Because him catching Topuria with a head kick or even some punches is just not out of the realm of possibility. It's very likely that he, during 5 rounds, hits him with something. And then we're going to see whether or not Ilia Topuria can withstand the power of a lightweight or not. Because so far, he hasn't had that test, except for Jay Herbert, and he did not pass then. So we're going to see. So what I'm saying is, if the odds are good, go for Oliveira. But I think Topuria is going to take it. Okay, here are my picks in the overview. We go bottom to top, so I think that Christopher Evert will get the TKO victory over Jackson McVeigh. Alvin Hines going to get the TKO victory over Jonathan Diniz. Jacoby Smith, also a TKO victory over Nico Price. Terence McKinney, a decision against Vyacheslav Borshev. Tracy Cortez, also a decision against Viviane Araujo. Jose Miguel Delgado, TKO over Haider Amil. Gregory Rodriguez, a decision against Jack Hermanson. Peyton Talbot, the TKO against Felipe Lima. Renato Moicano, a decision against Benil Dariush. Brandon Royval, the decision against Joshua Van. Alexandre Pantoja, a submission against Kai Kara France. And finally, Ilya Topuria, a TKO against Charles Oliveira. So all in all, I have like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 finishes and 5 decisions. So that's okay. In general, about this card, I think it's an okay card. It's not a great card. For a numbered event, it's a flyweight event, I guess. It's only lighter weight division, except for the early prelims where we have a heavyweight clash. Other than that, the biggest is like middleweights. Not too much name power on the card, but that's not a good card. No, I'm taking it back. It's just not a good card. For a numbered event, that's not a good card. The prelims are a joke. We got a couple of people that might become relevant. Other than that, the most relevant fighters on the prelims are Viviane Araujo and Tracy Cortez, I think. They should be the highest ranked. 9 and 12, yeah. And the middle, no. Just no. I'm sorry, but that's not a good card. Not a good card. But since it's not somewhere in all Africa, I guess it's the trend we are having right now. Okay, that's that for that. Okay. We're just waffling now. Okay, and I did not move my face. Damn it. Oh, hello. Didn't realize I was streaming, actually. All right. That's that for now. And yeah, I see you guys in the next one. And please consider leaving a like, subscribe, and comment. Yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace out.